people? What is going on? Welcome to the All Go podcast. I am your host, Desmond. We are streaming live on YouTube. This is actually my first live on YouTube. Also, we are streaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, you can check us out. Thanks so much for joining. Before we get started, please like and subscribe. Would greatly appreciate it. Help grow the channel. Relatively new to podcasting. I think this is maybe episode 28 of the All Go podcast. Most of the potting time I've been doing has been on Mark Rogers' channel, the voice of college football. Myself and my partner Dre, have been hosting and doing weekly streams on the Michigan football at the Voice of College Football channel. So please check that out. Also, I do a podcast with my partner, my brother, Dre Artist, the Dre and Dez podcast. You can find that anywhere you get your podcast, not on YouTube, but anywhere you get your audio podcast. So yeah, it's been going well, but wanted to put a bit of a focus and make sure I'm putting content on my on the OM podcast as well. So today, want to talk about the potential for a Russell Westbrook trade from potentially the Lakers to the Hornets. Now, from the Lakers' perspective, there is no bad trade that includes Russell Westbrook, and he's basically the main piece in that trade. Russ has just not been a very cohesive piece for the Lakers. Obviously, the Lakers, I don't know if they lost last night or not, but they're roughly 16 games under 500. It's been an awful season for them. They've dealt with some injuries, and it just hasn't gone well. But, Russ has just not been what the Lakers thought he would be. And it's unfortunate because I think he's catching a lot of flack that he's catching more flack than I think he deserves in everything. But it's just it's the deal. You know, when you go to a franchise like the Lakers, they are all about winning championships. And if you're not participating and you're not contributing to that, you're going to have issues. So if I'm the Lakers, any possible trade piece that the Hornets could possibly give me, I am going to absolutely take that. My guess would be Terry Rozier would be part of that deal. I was looking up some NBA salaries, and I think Rozier is in the $17 to $20 million range as far as his salary. The NBA has the weird money's got to work type stipulation with their trade. So I mean, Russ is $44 million against the cap, so you're going to have, you're going to need to find $44 to $48 million coming back as far as that trade goes. So, I mean, if I'm the Lakers, I would welcome that. I would gladly take Russ or take Rozier and, a couple bench players, whatever the case may be, to offload Russell Westbrook, because the way it looks now, that contract is impossible. There's nothing you're going to be able to do with that contract and to be able to trade him. I don't think, because everyone saw how poorly he performed this season. That's not a surprise. It's not it's not a shock at all. So it's not as if he's been performing in a vacuum and no other NBA teams see what's going on. They've seen him shooting the ball and missing all of the rim and just hitting straight backboard and having 7-8 turnover games. They've seen that. So I'm shocked anybody is even putting feelers out there like that. But if I'm the Lakers, absolutely, yes, I will take that trade, and it really doesn't matter who's involved. I will take it. Yes, if you pose it, I am going to take it, because I would much rather have 4 guys that make $12 million versus having one guy that makes almost $50 million, especially when Russ is performing the way that he is. So if I'm the Lakers, I'm absolutely taking that. If I am the Hornets and this trade happens and goes through, Michael Jordan should sell his controlling stake in the Hornets, because this would be a disaster of a move. You're talking about bringing a guy in who's, number one, 48 million against the cap, who anytime there's any type of expectation, it's not going to go well for Russ. He excelled in Oklahoma City, especially when Kevin Durant left, because there were no expectations. Nobody expected OKC to win a championship or go far in the Western Conference Finals. He did a phenomenal job of getting them into the playoffs, and I think they were a 4 or 5 seed, something like that. He did a terrific job, but there were no expectations on that team. And when he went to the Lakers, there were expectations. When he went to Houston, there were expectations. There weren't expectations in DC. And lo and behold, Russ did well there. Averaged almost a triple-double. I think he may have averaged a triple-double there. But it just, I don't understand why the Hornets would even think about this. I don't understand it. But if I'm the Hornets, there's no part of me that wants. I don't even want to inquire about Russell Westbrook. I'm not even making a phone call. I'm not putting anything out to any media members. I'm doing none of that. This would be an absolute disaster, because the Hornets are in the, if I'm not mistaken, the Hornets are in the play-in tournament. So they're in the playoffs. Let's call it the playoffs. They're in the playoffs. They're one of the top 10 seeds. So with a young team, they're a really, really young team. The last thing I want to do is bring Russell Westbrook in to my franchise to potentially stunt the growth of LaMelo Ball, who is a young superstar. I'm not doing any of that. There's no way. Bridges is playing well. There is no way that I am looking to bring Russ Westbrook into my organization when I have a young team the way that the Hornets do. I think the Hornets have something truly to build on. I truly think that. But Russ is not the answer. He is absolutely the wrong answer. If I'm the Hornets, like I said, I would say that Jordan needs to sell his stake in the team if that is the move that he approves and moves Russ Westbrook. That would be an absolute disaster. There's no part of me that wants anything to do with Russell Westbrook unless I am the Orlando Magic. I would say the Detroit Pistons, that's the home team. But even then, no. Cade Cunningham is a really good young player. I think he's going to do well in the league. And I'm not bringing Russ in to potentially stunt his growth at all. There's no possible way that I would have Russ in my organization outside of me just being hopeless of winning. Sacramento Kings, perfect spot. They're not winning anything. So that would be my 2 cents on it. For the Lakers, absolutely do it. Take the deal. For the Hornets, there is no way on God's green earth that I'm doing that, making that deal. So anyway, wanted to just hop on real quick and do a quick live, so I appreciate it. Thanks for joining. Once again, like and subscribe. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and then as well here on YouTube. So please like and subscribe. Definitely appreciate it. And that is it for me. So peace.